Hey Holly, you've been in plenty of big fights before, but is there any extra excitement or emotions being on Fight Island and everything that's going on over there?
It's one of those things that it's uh, a main event. I feel like there's always like a little extra pressure, but also I'm just honored to be able to be there and the belief to be able to kind of come in and do something great. So I'm excited to be here. I know there's not going to be fans out there that I can hear, but I know there's millions of fans watching on TV. So I'm excited, and it's like a good pressure.
You've been clear about this in interviews already. You are still looking for another shot at the title and getting a belt back. Do you think that this is the one you need to get another shot at Amanda Nunes, or do you feel like they will have you fight an Aspen lad before you get another crack at it?
All I can do is do my best to fight and see what doors open for me. And all I know is that this fight is what I need to focus on and do my best in order the better I do in the fight, that's the more promising for, title shot after that. So the best I can do in this fight is what's going to matter.
To shift gears a little bit, obviously Amanda is fighting Megan Anderson. You have experience fighting both of them. How do you see that one playing?
They're both tall fighter. I mean, Megan's real tall. Um, Definitely different styles. I mean, I always say anything can happen in there. I feel like Amanda's definitely going to, you know, be victorious, but that doesn't mean something couldn't happen. Anybody has a puncher's chance.
People are wondering if Amanda wins, if that could be it, the 145 division for the ladies. You fought there twice before. Out of curiosity, has the UFC reached out to you about featherweight fights since the last time you went up?
I just train, and when the fight gets scheduled, I say, okay, my management kind of deals with that. So if they've talked about it, I couldn't tell you yes or no.
I
I'm always open to either one. Yeah.
Quick side note, I know it hasn't aired yet, but who did better on Celebrity Family Feud? You or Karate Hottie?
Oh, I'd say it's a draw on that one. I don't know. I'm going to say Karate Hottie.
Final question. What does Irene Aldana bring as an opponent?
She's tough. She's gritty. She's tall. She's got long reach. She's well rounded. She's comfortable on her feet, comfortable on the ground. So I better be ready, and I am.
Thanks, all.
Thank you.
We'll take our next question from Damon Martin with MMA Fighting.
Hey, Holly. Obviously, this fight was originally August, and I know you can't control COVID-19 or anything, but like, how is that for you? Dealing with basically going through an entire training camp and then having to stop. And then I heard you kind of went to the mountains and just got away from it all, and then coming back to it. Like, how is that whole process? Because it's kind of a weird thing, basically a 2 month delay and going through essentially two different training camps.
It was the last week of training too, and I actually had talked to some friends that live up in Colorado, and I was like, man, after my fight, I'm I'm craving the mountains. I need to get up there. So after my fight, I'm gonna call you. And then literally the day that my fight got postponed, I thought I know they're gonna reschedule this fairly quickly. So going through an entire camp physically and mentally, like I knew I needed a break before I was gonna jump back into it again. So I actually called that day. I said, hey, so instead of coming after my fight, I'm just gonna come right now. So I love to be up in the mountains and just be away from things. Um, just kind of refreshing for the soul. And even when I got back, I was only there for close just under a week. I got back, I still kind of just had a little time with my friends. Things that you kind of put aside when you have a fight camp. You can't make it to that happy hour with your friends or go hang out. Kind of chat when you have to be at the gym training. So I enjoyed some time with friends and family, with some light training before I really jump back in.
Was it always Irene Aldana? As soon as the fight got, you said you thought it was going to get rescheduled. Obviously, jumping in, short notice fights, different opponents. Obviously, you got Jermaine and Juliana fight card. Maybe was it always Irene, or did you think about taking anybody else? Did you have your focus stayed on Irene?
Honestly, that's just those after the fight. That conversation kind of more was just my management and my coach, Michael. At first, they I think even had said, well, who else is out there right now that can take the fight, and um, you know, that was kind of the talk. Once we found out that it was canceled, and nobody really, they didn't really have anybody kind of just to throw last minute because it was the last week of training. But it was one of those things that rather than just like force something else for the time too, it was like, well, or just reschedule it. It just kind of was something that was just kind of, well, let's reschedule and fight as is because it's a good match.
And Holly, obviously, there's been a lot of talk about Irene potentially title. She can beat you. But even though you're the number 2 ranked fighter in the division, you fought for the title, you've been the champion. It always feels like the spotlight is on you. The headlines are about you because you are the former champion, because you are that ranking. How do you deal with that? I mean, is that something you just learn to embrace? You just kind of let it roll off your shoulders. That there's always going to be that spotlight on you, the expectation on you. Like, how have you learned to deal with that?
Uh, it honestly gives me heartache uh, because I know that there is a lot of belief in me by a lot of people. There's a pressure that comes with certain things, but that's also what makes this sport so great. I feel like I'm alive. I'm feeling life, and I would rather things be expected of me, or rather have pressure put on me because that means that there's a reason why that is the case, rather than people that didn't care or didn't want to watch or no pressure. So if I had it I wouldn't have it in any other way. Just makes me want to do my best. It makes me want to win, so that all this belief in me it's worthwhile. It's worth something.
And last question, I spoke to your coach, Mike, Nunes fight, and he had said that one thing that separates you from a lot of other fighters is one loss will never define you. One loss will never deter you from your ultimate goal. You're going to get back in there with that same fire, that same hunger every single time. Do you feel like that is a big part of who you are? Coming off that Raquel fight, going into this one, building back towards that title shot. That one loss is never going to knock you off your long-term goal, because he said that that's a big difference between you and anybody else. You don't get discouraged. You come back even more hungry, even more fired up.
Yeah. I've not just in MMA, but in boxing, I've been knocked out cold and had to come back. And if a fighter's never been there, it's definitely probably one of the hardest things to deal with. Um, you start to self doubt. Am I going to get knocked out again? Am I really that good? There's all these questions that fighters probably don't want to admit that they actually ask them. But it's even to get back in and spar for a while. You're like, oh, okay, yeah, I can actually like spar. I'm all right. Like, kind of build that back up and take a fight. Like, yeah, I believe I can do it. And it's like, am I telling myself I think I can do it, or do I really think I can do it? And there's a lot of demons you can battle in your own mind. And I'm a firm believer in the fact that you can feed yourself whatever motivation you want. If you keep questioning yourself, then it's going to come out in your performance. You don't believe in yourself and you're the one who has to go in there and fight, then how you think you're going to win? You always have to believe you can do it. And if there's ever a time I don't think I can do it, is the day that I need to retire. So, you know, setbacks doesn't necessarily mean that it's done. And a lot of people at this point in my career are like, oh, have you thought about retiring? You had the belt, you lost it, you were already 38, you're old. Like, well, I'm still ranked right up at the top for a reason. And um, so what I want to keep doing is make that belief. I want people to believe in me. So I need to make the best performance that I can, so that they can see why I'm still doing this, why I'm still passionate about it, and why I believe in myself.
Thank you, Holly.
We'll take our next set of questions from Hausi Fan with PP Sports.
Hardy, how are you doing?
How's it going?
I'm good, thank you very much. And let's talk about your experience in the Fire Island so far. Was it good?
Oh, it's been great. I mean, I think in this life right now, there's a lot of things that are challenging, and for a challenging time, it's definitely been as pleasant as can be. Everybody here has been great. The help has been great. Um, be able to have the opportunity to still fight and have everybody here that has put their hard work together so that we can make this happen. Very thankful for the opportunity.
Sure. Thank you very much. And so, since most of the people are talking about this match and thinking as a title eliminator, so what do you expect from your opponent, especially after her COVID-19 incident? Will that affect her performance?
I think that she's going to be just fine. She's going to go in there. She wouldn't have taken the fight if she didn't feel good and ready. I'm not ever going to walk in there and think, oh, hopefully, maybe she's not coming as her best game. I truly feel that I'm getting her at her best game, at her A game. So I need to be ready for that, and I am ready for it.
Fair enough. So, as the most experienced fighter in the octagon that night, fighting in Abu Dhabi is your first time. The time difference, the cage size, and the temperature, all those factors are different. And there's no gentleman singing a love song to you in the pre-game conference. Will that affect your performance? And how will your experience deal with those issues in order for you to get big W that night?
We're all in the same boat. We're all fighting in the middle of those early morning hours. We're all having to be, in a different time zone. We're all having to fight with no fans in the stands. So we're all in the same boat. At the end of the day, when I get in there, it's still me standing across from my opponent. And at that point, I want to win, regardless.
Thank you very much. And then October 17, your birthday is coming up pretty soon. Do you have any celebration plan after you win in this match? Or you just focusing on this one? Yeah.
I actually plan on going on a little weekend trip with my
Any more detail you want to share?
friends. No, I don't want to tell everybody where I'm going to be.
All right, good. So the last question for you is, since you talked about retirement earlier in that questions, beyond UFC, what do you expect you to do in the future? Like another action movie, maybe?
Whatever doors open whenever I'm done fighting, I'll take the opportunities and do the best I can with it. Right now, I'm just focused on fighting, and hopefully, through this career, maybe there'll be open doors for something else.
So thank you very much. You're a true champion, and I wish you all the best
Thank
this
you.
weekend. Thank you very much.
And we'll take our last set of questions from Gat Pangalangan with Dojo Drifter.
Holly, so we saw you kick the year off with a victory, but things all around have been kind of crazy. How has 2020 been like for you?
2020 has been wild. I think everybody can um, say that. I don't think anybody doesn't kind of sense a little bit of a kind of different kind of year. For me, it's been pretty. I try and keep it as normal as I can. My heart goes out to a lot of those that not only have had to deal with COVID, but just it's not just the actual virus itself, but it's businesses that are closing, it's people that are having a hard time at home, it's kids that are having a hard time with school, and there's just a lot going on right now. So for me personally and directly, I've been able to train for the most part. I've been able to doing what I love to do. My family's healthy, so I'm very fortunate. And for me, I've just kind of my thoughts more are going out to those who have really been directly affected by the pandemic. So, um, always just hope the best, and always hope we can get back to full functioning everywhere, all over this world.
Yeah, so craziness aside, you find yourself now on Fight Island. How does it feel to be there with your team, especially? Like, is this all a great experience for the team?
I feel so fortunate and so blessed to have such a great team that will fly across the world with me because they believe in me to go do something great. So that's just something that I can never put into words how much I really appreciate my. It actually puts pressure on me. I don't want them to come all the way over here and be having to go home with a loss. It's pressure in a good way though, because I just want to be able to give back to them what they've given to me. They've given me their knowledge. They've given me their time. So I want to give that victory back to them. I want to make it all worth it.
And you mentioned pressure, but I've noticed that you seem to just shrug off pressure like it's just another main event, it's just another fight. Is that something that you've developed over the years, all these years competing?
I mean, I get super nervous. I get super anxious for fights. But I think that you have to have a certain personality to be able to kind of go in there and do what we do. Um, you're very vulnerable in there. You're totally exposed in front of millions all over the world, and so it's kind of one of those things that you have to be okay being vulnerable. You have to kind of a liberating feeling walking in there. You got to walk in there and just say you just got to let go. You know what? A lot of pressure here. There's a lot of people watching here, but I'm here. I signed up for it, so you just gotta kind of let it go and do the best you can in those situations. Because you're in moments like that, you're also inches away from greatness. Exciting. So I wouldn't have it any other way. I love to feel that I really live life.
It's awesome. And lastly, for me, will we be seeing your famous backflip after this weekend's fight?
That means victory. So absolutely.
Well, we look forward to that. Best of luck. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
That's all the time we have for you today, Holly. Thank you.
Thank you.